Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game, also known as Players Rep, here to educate, empower, and protect the athletes and their families' best interests alone. Doing this live as a PSA regarding the former Hawkeye student athletes and families regarding where they stand right now as we speak upon this day. But it's also to help people understand that no matter who wants to get the story, no matter who calls and speaks to us, no matter who sends a request, this is not going to be narrated in a 15-minute documentary. Kirk Ferentz at the University of Iowa for the last 21 years have created pain, suffering, and intolerable type of scenarios that these young men and families have not gotten over yet. So the fact of the matter is that being in this business as long as I have, I understand the Friday 3 o'clock mentality where you want to basically dump a story no different than what Kirk Ferentz did when he brought out those three young men. And then literally 3 days later, now they're doing a independent review based off of what they do. Again, that's to try to get away from the facts. Let's try to get away from the story. And no, those things will not be done in a 15-minute window. So again, no matter who reaches out, whether it's the worldwide leader, media, big and small, the way you want things to go is not on your timeline anymore. It's on our timeline. And when we said before that their voices will be heard, I mean, they are meaning the families and the actual athletes. That's exactly what we meant and what we said. And the times we're in right now in society, when we talk about systemic racism and oppression, we see things going on in the country pertaining to other student athletes. And when you do an actual article or interview, you do an actual camera shot. Perfect example with Mike Gundy in his shirt, OAN shirt in Oklahoma. And when the player, Chuba Hubbard, said, we looking to get change, we had running backs like Justice Hills and other players saying that change needs to be had all the way to the top. They wasn't talking about an OAN t-shirt. But the biggest leader, worldwide leader in the world, want to talk about the shirt, and Mike Gundy want to talk about how much of a dumbass he is. That's self-explanatory. We don't need to hear that. We don't need 2 minutes to understand why you wore a shirt. We need to know why these athletes are saying things need to change. And again, as a reputable interviewer or network, you should understand that what's going to happen and how these things are going to happen. We, in particular, me being the player's rep, I'm not going to serve these people up to you so you can write the narrative the way you want it, nor that what you write is going to validate whether what they say is true or factual or not. That's going to be on us and our representation, what we do moving forward. So again, that's a PSA for all those out there, media, big and small. It's on our timeline, not yours. Now, with that being said, we're talking about this entire process in when it comes to how athletes have gotten to this point right now where there's so much going on that in sports that whether it's Marvin Wilson, he has to speak out on social media pertaining to Mike Novell, whether it's Chuba Hubbard, as I mentioned before, or students in other places. The fact of the matter is that every time you're a 40 to 50-year-old man, you want to have secret conversations behind the curtain with 17 and 18-year-old kids. At the end of the day, in any other profession in this world, that'd be inexcusable. When it comes to sports, you feel like that's what you want to do. This is why we're going that path. You're not going to silence the parents' voices anymore. In the college athletics, when you come to rivals camps and Nike camps and Adidas camps, you basically need the actual parent to actually travel and take the athlete to the actual event. You need them to spend their hard-earned dollars to get them to that event, and then you treat them like kings and queens. The moment they start going through this actual process, collegiate process, they treat you like kings and queens as well. But as soon as they sign their name on the national letter of intent or whatever it may be, if the young man or woman is under 18 years old, you now exclude them. You purposely separate the athlete from the parent. Hence why these things have happened in Iowa for the last 21 years. And now, again, you're trying to do the same exact thing again. The parents are involved. Their voices will be heard. Again, I see you putting out coaches, and you're putting out Kirk Ferentz, you're putting out Mike Gundy, you're putting out Mike Novell, whoever it may be. Who you're not putting out is the people that literally, without them, you don't cease to exist. It's their children become young men that now have to go into the University of Iowa, have some severe mental health issues, some severe anxiety, depression that they went through, and yet you allow this person to answer 5 questions and disappear and say, I'm going to do an independent investigation. He can do whatever he want to do. You guys can do whatever you want to do. We know what we're going to do. So as I said before, our timelines is as follows. As of right now, like I said, I'll do this video today to explain to you our timeline. We're not interested in doing your actual narrative where, again, You give us 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden the news cycle changes, and then they get the independent review. You do your review, you do a special, and you move on. It's not going to happen. It's a new day in this. We don't need the actual permission, if you will, to tell our story in the terms of where you want us to tell it, or in the timeline you want us to tell it. Trust the facts, not the process. The fact of the matter right now, you guys are asking all the questions of parents or people that you want to corroborate to say if this is true or not. Last time I checked, a media outlet does not decide whether what an athlete went through or a parent went through is credible or not. You guys are not even there. If you really want to know the story, give me a call. They have hired me as their representation. So the reality is, again, if you want to speak to them and they hired me to speak, that's the way it's going to go. You're not going to dictate to them how these things are going to go any further. That was then, this is now. I'm here to educate and empower and protect, not to be manipulated, to be coerced, to be dismissed, disparaged. You know, all the things that's been going on that we talking about t-shirts. We talking about what's going on in society. College athletics and racism go hand in hand, established under the NCAA since 1906. There are many Caucasian men that you call heroes that basically made hundreds of millions of dollars off the back of African American athletes, and you yet still to give those same parents the same opportunity to do what's best for them and their family as they do for yours. And then you want these young men to apologize for things that they did not do, for you making them feel bad for who they are, where they came from, how they look, their culture. And yet you tell them to trust the process, a process that's not been built for them, but built off of them. Every single person that's basically writing at these big and media outlets without these actual athletes who were created by these parents, you would cease to exist. Your job description would not be in place. So miss me with that. We want it this way. We want it that way. That is no concern of mine. What my concern is that when I talk to these young men, these parents, hearing their pain in their hearts and not understanding why to this day this man did what he did to them. Why this man feels like that they have to come to him and get permission to seek forgiveness for him for the pain that he caused. Who does he think he is? He not catching any passes. He's not throwing any balls. He's not getting hit. He's not getting called the N-word. He's not getting degraded. He's not the one telling people that, you know what, without me, you would cease to exist. Your life would be nothing. He's not the one that you saying you're giving free education to get a general studies degree when you want to be an engineer. He's the one that's going to hide and put 3 kids in front of him. He's the one that's going to say this strength coach, again, that was with him for 21 years. He's the one that raised, fed, bathed Brian Ferentz. As we know, racists aren't born. So where to get it from? YouTube? The day is coming, the time is coming when you're not going to be able to say what you want when you want and be able to walk away with it. You're not going to be able to dictate and narrate the time frame in which you want these things to heal and say, move on. This is not a TV show. We're not here to entertain you. We're here to get the truth out. We're here to start the real healing process. And Kirk Ferentz can't start the real healing process at the University of Iowa, or Brian Ferentz can as well, because at the end of the day, the things that we will continue to put out was witnessed, observed, complicit by several other University of Iowa coaches that are on the roster to this day. You replace Chris Doyle with another strength coach. Has that other strength coach ever witnessed a player on that roster being called the N-word? What did he do about it if he did? You guys want to get the story, ask him that question. So as I said again, as we continue to put these stories out and let them have their voices heard, and we will decide how we want to move forward, you'll be the first to know. But we'll let you know how that's going to be. Again, my name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game, also known as a Pleasure, here to educate, empower, protect the athletes and the families that's interested alone. You guys are well, be blessed, stay tuned. We will be releasing another statement of a player today.